My name is Shalisha Vaughn. This week we will be discussing Mary Dyer, who was a voice for religious freedom. In the early days of America, a woman emerged as a fervent advocate for religious freedom, and her name was Mary Dyer. Mary was born in England around 1611. Though we don't know much about her background, it can be said that she was literate, and she was even described by the then governor, John Winthrop, as a very proper and fair woman. Mary was raised as a devout Puritan, and she, along with her family, which was her husband at the time, they set sail for the New World because they were seeking religious freedoms as those did during that time period. So Mary and her husband William, they take a trip back to England. And when they arrive in England, it is a time period where Quakerism is on the rise. Quakerism is pretty much the opposition of Puritanism because it allows women to have more of a leadership role. Quakers believe that women and men kind of transcended traditional gender roles, and that I feel must have been very appealing to Mary at the time. So when Mary arrives back in Boston, she's identified as a Quaker along with two other missionaries who had previously been arrested in 1656 and 1657. Since then, the governor had actually made even more stricter laws against Quakers, and the new laws were banishment or even death for trying to practice Quakerism. Mary, however, was able to escape to Rhode Island where her family and friends were. However, in the summer of 1659, she returns to Boston and is arrested with several other Quakers, and they were put in jail once again and were set to face trial. Dyer saw her friends all hung one by one, and she knew that she was going to suffer the same fate. However, her family was able to arrange sort of like a public stunt, and she was able to get public support because she was a woman, and she was spared and once again banished from the Massachusetts Bay Colony. After being released from prison, Dyer spent the winter in Rhode Island and Long Island. And despite opposition from her family and friends, in May of 1660, she insisted upon returning to Massachusetts again. She was arrested again, quickly tried, and it was confirmed that she was the same Mary Dyer that had been there before and was released. So when she was asked by John Endicott if she was a prophet, she boldly stated that she was, and that the words that she spoke were the words that the Lord gave her. And now those words had come true. And on June 1st, she was taken to Boston Common in a raucous procession, and she was hanged. And that made her the only woman that was ever executed as a Quaker. Um, in conclusion, Mary's unwavering dedication to her beliefs, it echoes throughout history, and she is truly known as a martyr for her thoughts and her beliefs. Thank you so much for watching this discussion. And my name is Shalisha Vaughn, and I'll see you next week.